It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's edition. It's Monday of Big Blue Kickoff Live right here on Giants.com and the Giants mobile app. We officially entered the part of training camp where you don't know what day it is because we had to practice on Sunday. So today absolutely feels like a Tuesday, but is in fact a Monday. And Roman Oben just did the best job I've ever seen of not going in front of the camera as he got his bag right in front of our table.
Was that from your offensive line training
that
on
is
how to get low? How to get low?
That is some bend from an offensive lineman right there.
That's sweet.
That was really impressive. I can't. I wish you guys saw what I just saw. It was
Be good, Roman.
kind of amusing. But it was the first day of practice in pads, and we saw offensive line work almost as impressive as what I just saw out there on the field today, and the defensive line as well. So it was a lot of fun. Paul, it was good to see the guys in pads and our first taste of something that looked like real football this summer.
Well, I think the one thing I do want to alert people to, and Brian Dable was very specific about this, today it was thud practice. That means you get initial physical contact, but he did not want guys being tackled to the ground. Not a full tackle practice.
I've never seen Brian Dable have a full tackle practice.
No, and yet he was asked that by the media, and they said, well, you don't believe it? He goes, I didn't say that. What I said is this is the first day we're in pads, and we're not going to do a full tackle practice. So that left it open for me.
When does Brian Dable ever back himself into a corner by making a declarative statement?
Never.
Yeah, so I wouldn't take a ton out of that.
So I don't know if there will ever be a full tackle practice later on during camp, but there may be.
In fact,
I'm just leaving it.
Since I have been here, I have seen only one coach do a tackle to the ground practice here. And you know which coach that is.
Mm-hmm. But,
which coach? Tell them.
Well, Tom.
When I was here, Tom never did a tackle to the ground.
You're right, Tom did not.
Tom all he did was scream at the top of his lungs, off the ground.
Right. No.
It was Joe Judge.
Yeah, you're right.
Joe Judge did. He was the only coach since I've been here since 2007. Maybe Tom did it before I got here. That's possible.
Tom, they had full tackle practice, I want to say, on the old, before they came to the...
so like 03, 04?
Yeah, before they came.
All right, so that was before I got here.
Yeah.
So since I've been here, and again, my first time watching practices was in 2007. The only coach that I've seen do full to the ground tackling was Judge. Yeah. And I don't remember anyone ever getting hurt doing that. But that's why you don't do that, because you're afraid you're going to roll up on somebody, you're going to roll up on a knee, roll up on an ankle, things like that, and that's when guys get hurt.
And to be frank with you, all the years that Parcells was here and they did it, you usually did not see injuries coming from those particular moves.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Not usually, no. But again, it's the pounding and the beating that these guys accumulate over the course of those practices that then when you get into the season, the theory is that it really drains their gas tanks and it kind of builds up and becomes a problem. So that's why they don't do it.
Absolutely. By the way, we're in the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. Big Blue Kickoff Live brought to you by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. I might have said those two things earlier, but I was so fascinated by Roman that I don't remember, so I said them again. It was a show.
Yeah.
So we got our first sets of offensive line, defensive line, one-on-ones. So why don't we start there? I thought for the most part, Paul, the offensive line did really, really well. You had, obviously, moments for certain defensive line. We'll get into that. Mm-hmm. But I thought the offensive line across the board did a pretty good job in a drill, which is designed to give the advantage to the defense.
I thought in particular, Jermaine Illuminor, I thought, to me, of the offensive linemen was the best of them.
He had one rep each against Abdul Carter, who we ran around the quarterback, Brian Burns, who we ran around the quarterback, and then Kayvon Thibodeau, who he kind of stymied. I think Thibodeau tried to win him on an inside move.
Yep.
And he stymied him. 3 wins against the Giants' 3 best pass rushers. 100% he was the first guy in my practice report.
And he should be, because he was that good. I also thought, to be honest with you, I think it was kind of funny. Evan Neal, who catches so much guff, got a lot of praise from Illuminor today during the media session.
It's funny. I was doing, I can't tell you what it was. You'll see a Huddle podcast coming up soon. So I was not at media today. So I'm actually going to need you to tell me what was said at media.
Oh, okay.
Because I wasn't out there, so I'd
Yeah,
love to hear it.
Illuminor said, well, let me just go right to the Neil thing first.
Yeah, please.
He said he is incredibly impressed by his run blocking skills, the strength and the size of his hands. He said the thing about him is that once he gets off on the ball on a running play, the second he gets his hands out there into the block, he said, forget it. It's over. He's like, I'm telling you, I am so excited about getting into two-way blocks with him.
Double teams.
Double teams. He's like, I can't tell you how much excited I am.
Yeah, they're going to move people, man.
Yeah, he goes, you don't understand. I get in the huddle, and I'm actually looking up at him. He goes, that never happened to me before. He's like, I'm telling you, this guy is so committed to being the best guard that he can be. He is fully bought in, and, I don't know if this was just good teammate speak, but Illuminor was effusive in his praise for Evan Neal making the transition to guard today, and I thought he did a solid job in the one-on-ones, John.
Oh, I thought he had 2 dominant reps.
Yeah.
His second one was against Durden. I thought that was a good rep. His first one came against Golston, if I recall correctly. And Golston, who, by the way, had 2 other really good reps where he won his 2 reps using his length and power. But on Neal's first rep, if I can bring it up here, he got his hands inside into Golston's chest, and Golston tried to long arm and move him. And Evan Neal, and in these drills, and Paul and I were talking about this earlier in the cafeteria, the offensive line is going to give up a couple steps. That's just the nature of the beast in these one-on-ones. Yes. That's how it goes. If you watch an NFL game, the offensive line gets pushed back a little bit. They're not just going to. But on that rep versus Golston, Neal maybe took 1 step back, anchored, and just shut down the play.
Yeah.
It shut down the rep, I should say. It was a very, very nice rep. Again,
that was his best one.
Because
the one against Durden, I don't think Durden offered him a whole lot in terms of that battle.
Well, I mean, you could, if all you can do is beat the guy in front of you.
That's true.
And that's what he did.
Absolutely true.
So, 2 good reps for him. I thought John Michael Schmitz had 2 very nice reps at center. His first rep was against Nacho. Again, Nacho tried to bull rush him, and Schmitz anchored down, did a nice job. And then his second rep was against, let's see, I don't have all the young guys' numbers memorized yet. I should. And I write down because you can't write down names. It goes too fast. You can only write down numbers.
Tell me
about it. I should have known that. DJ Davidson, who was a big man. He tried
much bigger than he used to be, by the way.
And bigger than John Michael Schmitz. And he tried to kind of bull rush him into the backfield, and Schmitz held his own against Davidson as well. So I was happy with both Neal and Schmitz on the 2 rushes that they had to deal with. Now, both guys tried to get bull rushed twice. We didn't see any speed moves against either guys, but both guys held their ground when they were rushed, which was good.
So I'm with John on this. I do think the offensive line had the better day, and we've highlighted the guys who had the best of those reps. I did think defensively, and again, it's all depending upon your subjective point of view and what you're looking at. I was really happy with Abdul Carter.
Yeah, me too.
I was very, very happy with his ability to energize himself right out of the snap.
What I like, Paul, about him,
he's explosive.
He had the first rush of the session against Illuminor. That was the play where Carter got outside, but Illuminor did a good job moving to his feet, and he kind of pushed him around the quarterback. So, but then if I can find the 3 plays simultaneous here, he did not win outside with speed on either one of those, right? He won inside. So he used his speed first.
Yes.
It was almost like the first one was almost like a Reggie White hump move, where he kind of faked outside and got underneath the pads and just tossed, I think it was Stone Forsythe, the offensive lineman, aside.
Forsythe twice. He
actually went up against 3 times. But yeah, I mean,
2 of them though,
here's
I felt horrible for Forsythe.
It's a bad matchup for Forsythe because
Terrible
he's
matchup.
so tall.
Terrible.
And Carter can get so low to the ground. It's not a great matchup, and I think he got matched up against him 3 times. But I'm with you. I thought Carter did a really nice job showing. The other one was just like a kind of a fake outside, quick move inside, and he just went straight to the quarterback.
I'm glad you brought the moves up, because we talk all the time about how you have to have more moves than just your initial move. You have to have counters, right?
Yeah.
Well, Illuminor also talked about Carter. And he said what I loved about what Abdul Carter did today was that he was thinking and he had setup moves. And that's exactly what you're talking about. That's what we saw. It wasn't just the first move. It was that second or third move. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, man.
And it wasn't the speed, dip, and rip that you thought it would be.
No, it wasn't
That's
always the same
thing.
one.
Correct.
Twice, I'm again twice. I don't want to pick on Forsythe. My goodness, he's trying his best out there. But there were two of his snaps against Forsythe. I literally felt horrible for Forsythe.
But he's actually had a pretty good camp so far, Forsythe. He's been
but on
good.
neither one of those snaps did he have a prayer in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just decimated. So that I wanted to bring up, and then to be honest, I was higher on Darius Alexander than you were.
I went back to my notes and I had him down for 2 good bull rushes, where he really showed off his power.
I thought he had 2 good bulls. There was 2 slicing plays that I thought that he had where he worked the shoulder well, and he was able to turn the guy and move him back. I thought he had a really good day too in the one-on-ones. The bottom line is this. It was a better day for the O-line than the D-line today. Now,
Dexter Lawrence did not participate.
He did not,
and
that's what I was just about to say.
Point that out. And
I was just about to say.
And I think Burns only had 2 reps as well, so he did not have a ton of reps during the one-on-ones.
But most importantly, Dexter did not. And I wanted to just add that caveat. Very important, folks, because here we are kind of saying O-line won. Well, Dexter's the big elephant in the room, and he did not get to
the other guy
play today.
I'll bring up, and he, it wasn't like these quick, darting, slashing wins, but every time Elijah Chapman gets 2 hands on a guy, he slowly pushes them back to the quarterback.
His last rep,
his leverage and strength. His first rep, I thought against Runyon, he pushed Runyon back into the quarterback. It's just very difficult for these offensive linemen against a guy that's that strong and so low to the ground to create leverage against him. And I think Chapman just does a good job of kind of backing guys back up a little bit.
It reminds me of, if you guys have ever seen any workout videos at a gym or gone to a gym, and you'll see people and they get behind that sled that's got all the huge circles of weight on it, and they get low to the ground and they just get down there and they get behind their shoulders and they just push.
Yeah, Pearson does it every day.
That's what Chapman does.
It's really Lance that does it every day.
Yeah,
that's okay.
And the last rep, and I don't remember the O-line he was against. The last rep that Chapman had.
I'll find it.
Yeah,
keep talking.
find who it was. He did that. He just went as low as he could.
Running again.
Was Runyon, the last one. I did not jot that down. He got as low as he could, and he just got those legs going and made that push straight back.
You're right. It looked just like he was pushing the sled. 100%.
And I was like,
it's a good
look at this. And that's impressive to watch.
Now and again, it wasn't like an outright dominating win, but Runyon was just slowly moved. Which, again, is going to happen in these drills, which is why I'm not calling it like an outright domination or anything like that. But it was just something that struck me, that I saw it against multiple guys with multiple reps, where he's just so... And look, I told you guys last year, Patterson told me that he's the strongest guy in his group.
Pound for pound.
And we saw that again today. And I mentioned Golston. I thought he had a couple good uses. His length and power. Kind of that one-arm power rush lean move that he uses was really good. So, again, I just thought it was a good back and forth. And guys were getting into it a little bit. It was a little spirited, a little too spirited maybe a couple times. But there were no, going through any punches or anything like that. But it was good, intense competition, which was fun to see.
Some abrasiveness, as I like to call it.
A little trash talk.
James Hudson is a very vocal individual.
And there are vocal guys on defense as well.
There are. But let's just say this. James Hudson has had he had an issue earlier in the offseason. He and Brian Burns had some words during an offseason practice. And now today, he got very vocal with Kayvon Thibodeau.
And Kayvon was a little involved in that spring
thing
as
because
well,
Kayvon's not going to back down from anybody's
Correct.
vocal.
So it was good, intense competition, which we like to see.
Yes.
The rest of practice, folks, we're not going to come out with a bunch of big pass plays today because they probably ran the ball on 80 to 85% of their snaps.
I was going to say at least 80%.
It was
at least
a lot of running of the football here, which in pads you expect that. I thought all 3 running backs had their moments, to be honest with you. Tyrone Tracy had a couple really nice cuts for some big runs. I thought Cam Scatterbo probably had a great cut back. The run was designed to go left.
The one that went
he
40
cut
yards?
back right down the right sideline for a long run.
Yeah, it was a long run.
His ability to change direction in short spaces and find the hole, his vision's really good. I thought was impressive. Devin Singletary had a couple nice runs in there too. He had a backside cut on one of those outside zones, and he cut it up backside. He had a nice run. And Scatterbo, one of the drills they did today, Paul, and it was a situational drill throughout practice, and they had a competition at the end where they backed the offense to their own 1 or 2 yard line, and they had to run it out of the shadow of their own end zone
and get a first down.
And Scatterbo just gets the ball, pushes it against the line, gets low, drops his shoulder, and pushes the pile.
He plows. He plows through.
He did it multiple times. And I think, for the people that play fantasy football out there like Paul Dottino, you have to, and then you're looking for a Giants running back, it sure looks like he's going to be their short yardage goal line guy, and it sure looks like he's going to catch a lot of passes. And as Paul knows, that gives you a lot of fantasy football points. So that's how I'll look at it.
He is a touchdown gobbler, or whatever the heck that those people call those folks.
Gobbler.
He had 21 rushing touchdowns last year at his last year at Arizona State.
Yes.
Illuminor alluded to that particular drill at the end of practice as well, John. He said, it was a big deal for the offensive line to be able to run for that first down in the last series that they ran of snaps. Because it's O-line against D-line. They know it's coming. We're going to have to run the ball for a first down from the shadow of our own goalpost. And can the defensive people stop us? And they couldn't. They were able to power through. And it's Scatterbo who not only has deceptive cutback ability and slashing ability, but has incredible innate vision. He understands that he doesn't have to plow somebody over. He does see where the spaces are, where the gaps are. And Dable even said he's really good at reading the blocks.
Dable talked about that. He sets up blocks, and you always understand why he goes where he goes. We had a running back here. Oh, boy. The name I don't remember. Who was the end of first round speed running back that ended up hurting his neck?
Wilson.
Thank you.
David Wilson.
Fastest guy in the world. Mm-hmm. His vision was not the best.
No. He was not instinctive at all. He was not. That's why he was a great kickoff returner.
Correct.
But he was not a great running back.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. But I think Scatterbo's the opposite. He can find the whole cut, and he does.
He is something else. He is something else. Couple plays. Can I mention a couple highlight plays while we have a minute?
I got a couple
we get
too.
the calls?
Go right ahead, please.
All right. Art Green near the end of practice.
Nice one-handed interception.
Jameis Winston eludes traffic. He's on the move, and he throws this long pass down the right side, and it was an errant ball intended for Bly. And Art Green, out of nowhere, just goes up and reaches up and just plucks that sucker one-handed out of the air. It was spectacular. Good for him. I thought that was the play of the day.
And I thought not quite as spectacular, but on a little skinny post, I guess I'll call it, a deep post. Jackson Dart tried to hit Zach Pascal, and Cordell Flott made a really nice play, getting his hand in there and knocking it away. Really nice play.
Excellent throw. Yeah. Even better defensive play.
Agreed.
Yep.
And I thought you had some pressures. Ty Summers, I thought, had a couple tackles for loss. I saw Golston get in there. I saw, who else do I have here?
I had Black with a pass defense in the first session.
Javon Holland had a tackle for loss. Let's see. If anything pops in, just bring it up, Paul.
Oh, I got one more. Mm-hmm. I got Dart to Humphrey, knocked away by Flott on a really nice pass defense as well. And that was in the next to last 11-on-11 session.
Maybe that was the throw I was talking about. Maybe it was Humphrey and not Pascal. I thought it was Pascal, the one down the field.
No, Pascal, the one that Pascal had down the field, I had a catch from Dart in traffic.
Okay.
That was down the field. It was over the middle.
That was the little...
that was a catch in traffic.
Okay, yeah, so I think I swapped those two a little bit. Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. But, yeah, so it was a fun practice. Today was about an hour and 45 minutes. I think they go to a full 2 hours tomorrow. It's their third straight day of practice. Which means Wednesday there's an off day, a rest day. So should be a lot of fun, and we look forward to seeing everybody out there. And I think there are still tickets available. I'm not sure if there's some available tomorrow,
I'll take a look.
But there might be. Why don't you take a look, Paul?
Yep.
You guys can go check that out. Now get on the line, folks. 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Are those current YouTube comments in there as well, Pearson. If you're streaming on YouTube, put your questions in the chat, and we will certainly get to them as we move along.
Just the quick news I was showing you before.
Oh, yes. Well, what do you got for me, Pearson?
The Giants have signed Gunnar Olszewski.
Oh, Gunner's back. The special
Yes.
teams ace.
I was wondering if that
Excellent.
had anything to do with Bryce Ford Wheaton's injury, but
Well, he's on IR.
yeah.
Yeah, Ford Wheaton goes to IR this morning
Correct.
because he tore his Achilles yesterday. And by the way, Brian Dable.
Everyone is like everyone loves Bryce Ford. He's a great kid.
Yeah, speaking for everybody, great kid, terrible loss. Played really well on punt coverage last year. Was having a good training camp. Was even catching some passes, John, as a receiver. They were getting him some action, and now he's gone for the season with the torn Achilles. And so Gunnar comes back. Now the interesting part for me here, John, Gunnar was more of a return guy on specials than he was a gunner. And yet he's the one that they have brought back. I'm a little curious.
Yeah, it was, he's going to compete with Amir Smith-Marset. You're going to have Dalen Cambry, too. I think Cambry, he's a very similar player to Gunnar, even though he's not a return guy necessarily, but all like the dirty work type of stuff that he does.
Cambry's more of a coverage guy than Gunnar is.
Correct.
And Gunner's more of a return guy.
Yes.
But both guys can play slot.
Correct. So we'll see what they do with that. But again, Burns was back out there on the field today. As I mentioned, he practiced. He was a little bit limited, but he seemed to do almost everything.
Yep.
They ramped up Jalen Hyatt a little bit. He just still not to do team. And then Wando Robinson, he just got a knee to the leg yesterday. So he got a day of rest today. My guess is that since it's their day off Wednesday, they might give him the day off tomorrow too. We'll see. And then, but there's no worry long term with him at all.
No.
Run or Walk with Giants Legends. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K racing kids run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 26th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative t-shirt. After the race, stay for a post-race festival with appearances by Giants Legends and a live DJ. Register now at Giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. Also, go check out the Giants Huddle podcast, folks. Great conversation with Jeff Eagles. I believe that is up there now. Pearson, is it correct? Well, another one coming to you tomorrow. A bit of a surprise. But Jeff and I kind of just talk some Giants, reminisce a little bit, tell some stories. And I also have Jeff try to pronounce names of guys that came out in the NFL draft this year.
You did not.
Yes, we did. It was fun.
That's so mean.
He actually did Pearson, he did a really good job. Like, he nailed Oluwafemi Oladejo. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. He did great. I think he got almost every name right.
He had more trouble just seeing the phone than he did actually pronouncing
because he couldn't see it. Because like us, he is old. But he actually did a pretty darn good job with the names. I was very impressed.
Okay. General admission tickets for training camp, it says sold out.
Okay. Got it.
So they are all gone.
How about the season ticket?
Now, if you have season tickets, let's see. If you have season tickets, you can still go into the Giants website at Giants.com, and you can still get tickets for July 29th, which is tomorrow, July 31st, and August 1st. There are 3 practices still available if you have season tickets, but you'll have to use your account number to acquire those.
So make sure you go to Giants.com/training camp to do just that. All right, 201-939-4513. We'll get to your YouTube comments as well. Coach Marvin in Delaware will lead us off today. Coach, what's going on?
How you doing, John and Paul?
What do you say, Coach?
It's not too bad. It was good to see you yesterday, Paul.
Coach,
And,
I told you, man, it was wonderful to see you, and I was hoping we might get a chance to drop by you today, but I guess you weren't here today.
Yeah. No, I couldn't make it today. I was back down here in Delaware, and actually they're showing the Giants right now on NFL Network right now.
Nice.
But I was hoping to get there to see, because Paul was telling me they were going to be in pads today, and I would have loved to see them in pads. I hear you guys were talking about them not taking guys down to the ground, and it's like they don't really do that anymore, so I don't even look for them to do any type of tackling.
Coach, I'm surprised Paul had time to say hi to you between all his pictures he's usually taking out there at the fence.
Well, I caught him at. Well, actually, my girlfriend saw him because she watches the show also, and she recognized him from a far distance, and she said, "Isn't that him?"
Well, he's hard to miss.
All the way on the end by the building where they come out at. And I said, I think that is Paul. And then eventually he ended up working his way down, and he had a lot of fans asking for autographs, so I caught him right at the right time.
Well, Coach, I'm glad we got a picture. That's the important thing.
Yeah, that was very important to me. Yeah, I thank you for that.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you stopped over.
Yeah, sorry, Coach. I was running around. We had some guys here today. We were doing some interviews with guys. I just didn't have a chance to make it out there until later.
Yeah, I understand. And I knew Paul was working. He was charting down all those plays, so I didn't want to do too much disturbance of that. So I knew you guys were working, but hopefully I can get out there again. But I know they're down to their last week. Well, Wednesday is the last day, I believe, for the public, isn't it?
And I think then they come back. Isn't there one again in a couple weeks or something
They
like
will
that?
have the Jets dual practice is available, but I believe it's already sold out.
Oh, okay, I got you.
That's sold out? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right, Coach, what else you got for us today on the team?
Well, I just kind of compliment. A lot of people was talking to me during the practice, and when I was watching, they was asking me some questions. A lot of them wanted me to something I don't like doing, estimating how many wins they can get, and I kind of said, you know what, this is a team the roster looks really good. I mean, it really looks good. If you start naming guys on the defense, you really, as I was telling them, you really got some players out there on that defensive side of the ball. The offense is not that bad. They had some guys out there, and watching Russell yesterday, I mean, that's the first time I ever seen him live. The balls he was throwing yesterday, it just makes me feel as a coach that, you know what, I can open up my playbook with this guy, because he was throwing some balls downfield that was, I think what it does, it just opens up the defense, especially those shallow crosses, because he'd be too afraid that they'll go over the top of you. So now those DBs going to have to watch guys running over the top of them. So it might open up a lot of stuff in the mid part of the field. So that was impressive to see yesterday. I was very impressed with them. Jamison, I was impressed with. We all only know Jamison from afar. We never seen him in our own house. Mm-hmm. And listening to him today, I was listening to his interview from yesterday. My thinking now as a coach, I can't let this guy out of the building. I don't even care if I wouldn't mind if he got in the game. If he had to get in the game, I think he can do some things. But the way he comes across, it just feels. I think it's best for the team, and someone like Dart, he's good for. Listening to him talk in that interview you guys posted, he came off like a coach almost, talking about his experiences, his life experiences, and things you had to go through. It was just nice to hear. I mean, I wasn't expecting something like that from him. So,
I mean, Coach, look, I've been doing this a long time, and I've heard a lot of press conferences and guys say a lot of things. I've never heard a player talk about their internal language before, which I thought was very interesting. No, look, you laugh. I'm actually like, you know what? Think about it. Your whole mindset and how you approach every day is impacted about how you talk to yourself in your own head. It absolutely is, and I've never heard anybody quite say it that way. And I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty good. Like,
I hear voices in my head every day.
Yeah, but they're not your own.
Well, I hear them the same too. My problem is sometimes I answer the question while they're going through my head. So I understand where he's coming from, but that there alone, what you're saying, John, makes it impressive some kind of way. I don't know how. It's a weird way, but it's impressive, the thinking process to the game itself, and he brings that out. And I think that's very good for this team, especially the young players, and somebody like Jason Dart. I talked about this last week, about young people wanting to listen to older players or older people, because I always try to tie football into life, because they kind of run parallel. They're not the same, but they run parallel. And talking to older people, I always got educated from them. Listening to their experiences, I applied it to me, even though I didn't experience it. Like in my military days, there was guys that were in the military that went through combat before I even got in there, and listening to their stories. So when I went out, I knew what to expect when I went out there. And the same thing in law enforcement. In this game, it's the same way. And I think people like Winston, Jameis Winston, that brings that out, and I was impressed with it. So I think there'll be a better team. I keep telling people, yeah, they look better. I love the roster, but those other teams, the other three in front of us, they got good also. So we can't disrespect them. But my whole thinking was, real quick, was our roster. The schedule is really tough that we have, but I think this team needs to look at it and say, you know what, this is the schedule we want to play. If we want to learn to win and be winners, not just win, but you got to learn to be winners, this is a schedule that you really want to have, because every week you are playing somebody. There is no Western Kentucky in anybody's schedule. You are playing against some teams every week, so you're going to have to be on the top of your game every week with the schedule we have. I think the only one they have us favored in so far is New Orleans.
Yep.
I think it's the only one.
That's correct.
So that tells you how strong it is. And then you know what? I think these young guys that we have, the Abdul Carter, Tyler Nubin, Drew Phillips, all these young guys from the last 2 years or so, I think these young guys, they've been in programs where they can bring that to this team and they can stand up to the schedule. Just take the challenge on. That's all we can ask them to do. So
thank you,
it was
Coach.
Good to talk to you guys.
Be good.
Always a pleasure. Hope to see you out of practice again soon, man. Good stuff. 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Look, I've said this before. I'll say it again, just real quick. I know I've said this, so I don't want to spend more time on it, but even now that we've gone to camp, the way Wilson seems to just impact everyone around him on the team is, from a leadership perspective, is pretty impressive. Now it has to work on the field, because you can be, you can bring in, Alexander the Great, or, pick whatever great general in the history of mankind that you want to bring in here. You want to bring in, the Eisenhower, Patton, whatever. Like, none of it matters if when they go out in the field, they don't play well enough. So that's the most important thing. But certainly the intangibles are there in droves.
It's hard to lead if you're flat on your back.
Correct. Exactly right. All right, let's go to JJ in Bristol. JJ, what's going on?
What's going on, guys? Thank you for answering my call. First thing I'd like to start off, I was at practice on Sunday. Paul, you took a picture with me that made my day. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
I highly appreciate it.
See, the fans think I'm joking when I joke about Paul taking pictures with everybody. It's not a joke. This is happening. I am not making things up. Anyway, go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, so the things I noticed, I just want to start off by saying I liked how Evan Neal looked at guard. I thought he did pretty well. I know it wasn't full pads. I can't wait to see him in the preseason, see how he does fully with the opponents. And, God damn, Roy Robertson Harris. That dude is humongous.
He's a big man.
Him and Dexter next to each other.
Yeah, JJ.
I can't see anyone getting past those two.
Carl Banks walked up to me. Carl Banks walked up to me the day of practice. He goes, "You know who Roy Robertson Harris reminds me of in terms of build?
Chris Canty." And I'm like, you know what? He's probably not quite as tall as Chris. No.
Who was like 6'9", but Harris is legit like 6'6", 6'7", and about the same body type. So he is huge. He is massive. He is long. I know Andre Patterson, the defensive line coach, is super excited to see what he can do with him. So I'm with you, JJ. I have him penciled in as a starter already, and then we'll see what else they can do from there.
If I can add one item to him, and I was told this by somebody independently, and I'm going to throw it out there only because we have so much respect for Coach Patterson. This guy has done a lot in this league and a lot in this game, and we always said about how important the staff is. Somebody said to me, this defensive tackle could be really something special, and all through his NFL career, he hasn't had the right tutor to teach him what he needs to know. And I was like, yeah, well, he's been in the league for a while now. He hasn't exactly stood out. He goes, no. Patterson's got him now. Let the scientist work with this guy. I think you're gonna know this guy's name very, very quickly. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. The guy was just like, even next to Dexter, like he was a couple inches taller than Dexter. I was like, holy crap.
Yep.
My dad kept trying to get a picture of them together to send his buddy, who was a Cowboy fan, to say, watch out.
Got a wide lens?
Man, that guy was huge. But besides that, the versatility of Abdul Carter. I saw him at one point lining up at linebacker. I saw him at one point at D tackle, at the 3 technique. That guy, you guys talk about how versatile he is. I saw it in real life. That was insane. And he was big, too. And I'm liking this D-line. I'm really liking it. The one question I do have, like I said, I'm coming back up on Friday. For individual teams, like I kept trying to look at the linebackers, then I looked at the running backs, corners. Are there specific people that I should be looking out for and like who to watch? Because my eyes were kind of all over the place trying to catch everything.
When are you coming back, you said?
Zero it in on certain people this coming up time.
You're coming Friday, and I believe Friday's a padded practice,
it is.
Correct?
It is.
Watch the offensive and if you really want to get involved, watch the offense line and defensive line one-on-ones. They happen early in practice. Usually at the same time, the receivers are either doing one-on-ones or doing 7-on-7s with the quarterbacks. They'll have offensive line and defensive line one-on-ones. It's pretty much the first competitive period after they do individual position drills. That's if you're going to watch something all practice, bring your binoculars. Sometimes they will do it on the opposite side of the field away from the fans. So
it's further away.
I would sit high in the stands and have your binoculars so you could see them. But that would be what I would, if I were you, that's the thing that I would keep my eye on.
Without a doubt. I totally agree.
Perfect. And I just have one other question. He might have played this position. I'm not too sure. I didn't see Membu lining up at guard much. Are they training him solely on being a tackle?
He doesn't pronounce the M. Marcus Bowe.
It's Marcus Bowe. That's how it's pronounced.
Bowe.
Yeah.
They're trying him at right tackle. That's where they want him to be.
Yeah, Membo was a different offensive lineman. He was drafted by where'd Membo end up in the first round this year?
Remember.
I have to double check that.
I don't remember.
I'd appreciate the call, JJ. Good stuff. But yeah, they see him as a right tackle. I have seen him I think I saw him take a rep earlier in camp at left tackle. Just briefly.
One or two, maybe.
They've been working him at right tackle. That's been his spot. That's where he played in college. I think they want to try to get him into the groove by putting him in a spot he's familiar with. I have not really seen him at guard much at all, to be honest with you.
No.
So, and look, he has the feet to play tackle, and I think we saw in the one-on-ones today, he needs to get a little bit more rocks in his butt and anchor down a little bit.
Absolutely.
He can get moved, which is not a surprise for a young offensive lineman. So, but, man, he can move his feet. He can move his feet, and he's got quick hands. If he could just get some of the technique stuff down, get a little bit stronger, like, would it shock me if he was a starting tackle in a year or two? It would not surprise me at all. He has the physical. Some tackles they draft Paul, and you're like, he's kind of clunky. I don't know if he's ever going to make it.
He's not that
Bo
way.
is an athlete, man. Like, he has a real chance to be a starter.
He will need to get thicker, broader, and as John said, stronger. There's no doubt in my mind he is a developmental tackle. Absolutely. He's not just a throwaway pick.
So I say this, Paul, with some level of confidence.
Yeah.
Because I only have to go through around 18 years from me, and I'm curious your opinion.
What do you got?
Have you seen a defensive rookie in training camp that's been more impressive than Abdul Carter?
More impressive than Abdul Carter.
Mm-hmm. Or as.
Well,
because think about it. JPP was so raw. He was never that good early.
You know what? I was here for Banks.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's way below. I was 3.
Yeah. So. I was here for Carl Banks, and Banks was always impressive from the beginning.
But Strahan and OC, they didn't come along right away. Neither did Tuck.
No.
Or Dexter.
Dexter, yeah. I mean, his first year was fine, but it wasn't this.
No,
it wasn't this.
What John's saying is that you're getting eye-opening remarks about this guy just from his pure athleticism and his toolbox right out of the box.
I mean, all the corners, like the Aaron Rosses, Kenny Phillips, Terrell Thomases, No.
Not at this. Not this early, John.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Banks. Banks's first camp was my first camp. I started 83, the summer of 83, and Banks. I remember him being quite a standout as soon as he got here, but that's about it.
Keith Hamilton, no, right?
Not right away.
Mm-hmm.
Not right away.
I'm just going through draft classes
again,
right now. So
once you started getting into the season, you started to see it. But I'm talking about first week or two of camp. No.
A guy looks almost like you can't block him. Like
I know.
It's been impressive.
We're already kind of making statements about Abdul Carter as a headache player, and they haven't even had a preseason game
Which
yet.
is why we need to pump the brakes a little bit. Because
exactly.
we have to see it in the game first. This is just practice.
But the fact that he could even prompt you to feel that way tells you how incredible he's been.
You know what the funny thing is, Paul, looking at this?
Yeah.
Did you know, for all the, and again, there's been more times than we would have liked, for the times the Giants have picked in the top 10, I believe the only other top 10 defensive player the Giants have picked, besides Carter, if I'm looking at this correctly, is Thibodeau.
Yes.
And Banks.
Yeah. Because they were the last two, if you consider Tibbs as a linebacker, those were the last two linebackers.
I'm talking any
that
position.
were taken in the first round.
I mean,
no,
I know, but any defensive player, I do not see another top 10 pick.
Top 10? No.
No, I do not.
There were lower half of the first round.
Yeah.
Aaron Ross, Prince Mukamara,
Kenny Phillips, all those guys, sure.
Sean Williams.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those guys.
Yeah, I didn't realize it's been
Terry Kennard.
Considering
a bunch
how
of them.
defense heavy the Giants have always been, the fact that
you've
only had 3 of those guys in 30 years, saying something. Anyway.
Well, because they usually did excellent in the second round.
That's true. And they used their top picks on some offensive guys, and they didn't pick in the top 10 very often, which was also a good thing because that means you're not losing a lot of games. Let's go to Rob in Connecticut. He's up next. Hey, Rob.
Hey, P-Dot. How you guys doing
What's
today?
going on?
What's up, Rob?
Not too much. Hey, look, I couldn't come up with a better segue than what. I mean, I got to thank you for talking about rookies. So let's talk about, and this is a history thing, and then I'll go on to my major point.
Sure.
You're talking about rookie. How about, Paul, I often think about, and I remember almost like it was yesterday, what second-round draft pick our favorite from Cal State Fullerton, Mark Collins, you think... I think he clipped Sammy Winder on the George Martin interception. What's your take on that?
I'm not going to call it a clip. What, are you kidding me? I was rooting for him. I'm not going to call that a clip.
Paul wouldn't throw a flag on a Giants player if he brought a baseball bat off the bench and wailed the guy in the back of the leg.
Look, I've talked to George about that play 100 times, and every time we do, we always laugh about how there was a lunar eclipse before George got to the end zone. I mean, that's how long it took him to go the other way. And Collins and Collins and LT were two of the guys who were probably as close to him as anybody running down that sideline. But no, I'm not going to flag Mark Collins there. No.
Oh, no, but look, I'm just saying it's fun to talk about because it was a good segue based on the topic at hand. But, look, I don't know. I mean, I remember it, and it was a great moment in Giants history. God forbid it went the other way. I mean, it was a lexicon of Giants history right there, that moment. But anyway, the main thing that I'm calling about, and I'm frustrated, and it goes all the way to the top, and I'm going to name names, Mike Tannenbaum. I think people, the overall national media's analysis on the New York Giants prospect for this year is nothing. It's egregious. It's lazy. It's awful. What is your take on that?
In what way? And why?
Well, first of all, the lack of, I don't know, acknowledgement that any of these players have talent when they just gloss over major talking points. I mean, it's just they just talk about the same exhausting things. Lack of Saquon Barkley, all the old talking points, and I just think it's lazy and it's frustrating. That's why you guys are a beacon. You know what I'm saying?
No, look, Rob, we hear you. And first of all, Cedric Jones was a top 10 defender that I forgot about.
Cedric Jones was a top 5.
He was top 5, right?
Yes.
Anyway,
he was bad. Cedric was terrible.
That goes back a
he was
long way.
Yeah, that was in the late 90s.
What was Eli Apple's draft?
Eli Apple was in the teens.
Yeah,
he was in the teens.
Oh boy, he was a bust too.
Yeah, well, there's a reason that the last 10 years haven't gone very well.
Right.
So look, national reporters, when they talk about this stuff, Rob, are always going to be talking from a 20,000-foot view. These guys are not dug in on individual teams, even as much as, frankly, I wish some of them would be more. I don't know what else you're doing if you're a national analyst. That's all you should be doing is watching tape and understanding
they also
these
refer
teams.
too much to last year.
Correct. And they're always going to try to talk about the star players because when you're on ESPN, I make a joke with Peyton, who's one of our PR guys down the hall. Every time I walk by his cubicle, there's a TV on the wall across from him. And ESPN's usually on because we put on either NFL Network or ESPN. And I always joke because every time I walk by, the bottom line, the topic bar at the bottom is either the Lakers, the Cowboys, or some other like Aaron Rodgers free agency like story of the day thing.
Right.
And what people want to do is talk about the big story. So when people think about the Giants, they say, all right, well, what were the records the last 2 years? Okay, they were bad. Right. And I think the difference is Giant fans, I think, have a better understanding the level of upgrade that Russell Wilson is to what was here the last 2 years.
Oh, huge upgrade.
While the national media sees Russell Wilson as the guy that failed in Denver after getting a monster contract, is now on his third team in 4 years, and is significant, again, in their opinion, we'll see if this ends up being the case this year, is significantly worse the player, and frankly, a lot of them think he is washed up compared to the player that he was in the past.
Just so you know, Tiki, who I called, and he was actually sort of a jerk on the phone, he thinks he's washed as well, so it can be a little local. I was actually somewhat surprised. He didn't give him a chance. I'm like, okay.
I had a conversation with Tiki today. He was at practice, and that's not how we talked about Russell Wilson to me, to be totally honest with. And Rob, appreciate the call. Good stuff. And I think there are levels to this, right? You could say Russell Wilson's not the same guy that got the Super Bowl and won Super Bowls for the Seahawks. You could say he's not that same guy. But that doesn't mean that he's like one of the 5 worst starting quarterbacks in the league. Like there are levels to this.
Yeah, Kurt Warner was not the same Kurt Warner with the Rams that he was with the Cardinals. But he still got the Cardinals to a Super Bowl. Right. He still was good, but he wasn't the same Kurt Warner that ran the greatest show on turf. I think what I would add to John's point here is that for the national media who have actually been here since the offseason program began, the Brian Baldingers, the Judy Batistas, who was here from NFL Network yesterday, the Mike Garofolos, they have come up to me and said, you can tell the difference here. There is a difference. There is a whole atmospheric rise in the intensity. You could see the rosters better. We don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like this is a much different situation.
Yeah, these guys aren't locked in on like Chauncey. Like, do you think if you ask Mike Tannenbaum about Chauncey Goldston, he'll have a clue about that signing?
No, of course not.
And that's nothing against Mike. He has to do 32 teams, so he's not going to be in on the Giants' 5th biggest free agent addition this offseason.
It's not his job to be here, but I would tell you this. If Mike Tannenbaum came over here...
And we like Mike, by the way. He's good. He comes on our shows.
He comes on our shows. But if he were here and actually spent the day looking over the roster, watching practice the full day, I would suspect that a football guy like him might have a different opinion.
And I think here's the other trick, guys. And I've said this before on the show. The Giants could be a better team this year. They could play a much better brand of football. And it might only turn into like 2 more wins because the schedule is so freaking difficult.
There's no question. There's absolutely no question about that. But, I will say this to the caller. Is he gone?
Yeah, he's
okay. I will say this to the caller. If you want to take a silver lining to the disrespect, if that's the word you'd like to use, that the national media is throwing at the Giants, the silver lining is, fine. This organization over the last 20-something, 30 years even, they've usually been able to use that and chew on that as the us against the world thing. They prefer to be under the radar. This is not a team that wants the glare of the headlines and, you guys are favorites, you guys are going to do this and that, and the expectations getting rammed down their throats. No, this team would actually rather just bring their lunch pails to work and try to do whatever it is that they're trying to do. So that's the silver lining if you really want one.
Yeah, look, I think I'm optimistic about the improvements of the offense that we're going to see with Russell Wilson here. I think he's bringing a lot of important things, the willingness to throw downfield, protecting the football, lifting everyone else up, just knowing what he's doing. I think all these things are going to help this offense immensely. Now, what the results are, we'll have to wait and see. But I do think there will be a big difference, and I don't think that's how the national media looks at it, because they're thinking of Russell Wilson just, didn't work out in Denver, didn't get brought back in Pittsburgh, and that's how they view him, and I think I view him a little bit differently than that.
One other item I want to give you
Yeah, and then we got one more call we got to get to.
I know we got to go quick.
Because Bob Papa's got to get in.
I heard on NFL Network earlier today, they were discussing how Washington and Philadelphia might do this year, coming off of their terrific seasons of last year. Okay? And one of the things that was brought to the attention was that last year, Washington and Philly did an incredible job in staying away from turnovers. Well, that's no coincidence, because what do we say all the time since the days of Tom Coughlin? Turnovers are the number one way you can lose a game. And you also can't predict, nor can you schedule turnovers. Well, you know what? Maybe if Philadelphia and Washington don't do as well with their turnovers and their takeaway ratios this year, maybe they'll come back to the pack some. How about that? And how about maybe the Giants get a few more turnovers? Maybe that closes the gap.
Limit turnovers, make more explosive plays. If you want me to put in a little check mark, what Russell Wilson and how he's going to help the team,
bingo.
Fewer turnovers, more explosive plays.
Okay.
That simple. And I feel extremely confident he can do those two things.
So do I.
Extremely confident.
He's done it his whole career.
And now we'll see about the rest of it. All right, David in Virginia will be our final call. Then I'll try to hit a couple of these YouTube comments. David, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for answering.
Thanks for calling.
How you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
Great. So I have a couple of questions. First off, my question is for you for Tate Banks. We know he's had his issues, being a high draft pick as he was. Have you guys seen anything different from him?
I think he's been pretty good in camp so far. He hasn't really given up any big plays down the field from what I could tell. He's been still very physical at the catch point. I wonder in games if sometimes the flag might go up on a couple of those plays. They have not. They have referees here. They have not gone out in practice.
Right.
So that's a good thing. I think he's been playing a little bit more man. I've been pretty happy with what I've seen from him so far in camp.
He's been sticky.
I love it.
But I'm with John on this. They're playing more man right now. Early. Let's see.
Oh, that's big. That's huge. I love that.
You got anything else, David? Yeah.
One more question for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys got to go. So I'm going to the opening game, Giants-Redskins, right? And obviously I'm a Giants fan to the day I die. What do you guys expect for that game, if I may?
I think that has a chance to be a very high-scoring game. I think the Commanders...
High-scoring?
Yeah, I think the Commanders have a good offense. I don't think their defense is very good at all. I think the Giants are going to be able to score points on them. Now, the trick is, the Giants' defense is pretty darn good, at least I think it's going to be. And how much can the Giants adjust to what the Commanders did last year with Jaden Daniels, and how much is Cliff Kingsbury anticipating those adjustments and changing the offense himself this offseason? So, to me, you always try to find teams that made the playoffs last year that are not going to make it this year. When Paul and I will go through those lists when we get later in the summer, and we'll do our predictions and all that stuff. But I think the Commanders are a team that have a chance to fall back a little bit, to be honest with you. I think the Giants have a good chance in that game. But
I live in the D.C. area, so all my friends are Redskins fan or Commander fans. Sorry.
I'll put it this way: if the Giants can't score points week one, I'm going to be very concerned
all the time.
I'm with you. Look, Kevin, I think, and I appreciate the call. Good stuff. Thank you, David. I think the Giants should have the opportunity to score some points in week one, and I think they'll have to because I think Jaden Daniels will figure out a way to get some points on the boards with his running and all that stuff and his just great accuracy. But yeah, I think, look, they played competitive games against the Commanders last year. I don't see why they would not play. Look, it's always tough to win a home opener in another team's building with all the emotion and the energy and all that stuff, but I think they have a shot.
If the biggest show me thing on the Giants roster is their offensive line, Washington does not have a potent pass rush that's going to be able to take advantage of that.
Dan Quinn, though.
Quinn's a great coordinator.
And the way he does stunts and twists and move guys around with the Cowboys used to give the Giants fits.
I know. But it wasn't Washington's pass rush that crushed the Giants in last year's games.
That's true. I'd have to look at it. I don't know what their sacks were.
And they've lost personnel.
Yeah,
so
they have. All right, want to go through some YouTubers real quick?
Go ahead.
Real fast. Kevin Dent, how did Abdul Carter and Evan Neal look today? Neal looked good. Carter had 3 awesome reps. Julian Illuminor stumped him on another.
Yep.
We already talked about that. Virtually Speaking podcast. I know Scadaboo has looked good as they're a competition for number 1. I wouldn't even make a running back 1 through 3 depth chart. I think this is just a timeshare. I think Tracy's been still getting, I think if I had to guess right now, he'd probably be taking the first snap week 1. But I think this is going to be an even split, Paul. I think it depends on where they are in the field, what the situation is, and that's going to dictate what running back's out there.
I've said to you and Matt before, and I'll say it one more time, I don't think it's going to take very long for Scadaboo to be number 2 and to move Singletary down to number 3. That's my gut feeling as it stands right now.
Timothy Jackson, bold prediction, Giants go 10-7. Chris Olsen, hey, Paul, can we go back to the 80s uniforms?
They've used those throwbacks.
Are you in charge of that?
I'm not. But
now, for the record, if Paul could bring everything back to the 80s, he would definitely do that. Whether it's rules or uniforms or music, he'd be the gigantic hot tub time machine for the whole world.
I do love those darker blue helmets with the Giants logo.
So good.
Yes, they are. They are very special.
I grew up on those uniforms, so I would love to go back and have the white and the blues. To be honest,
they have used those throwbacks,
Yeah, and even the white color rushes are similar to the
white color rushes. Really are.
I like them. They're nice.
Yeah. So you kind of do see them a little bit.
You do. I agree. But I think they're sticking with their current primary uniform. So I think aren't they going to allow them to have another new uniform coming up in a couple of years or something like that? I think the NFL. I don't know.
I try not to pay attention to
Dominic Joseph. Do you think they will use Evan Neal in short yardage and or goal line situations as an extra offensive lineman? Yeah, I can absolutely see that as their XOL.
Starting.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if he meant like a fullback, but yeah, I mean, I could see them using him as like the next offensive lineman up off the bench. And then Eddie, how's the secondary looking? I think it's looked okay.
Sticky.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't seen, let me put it this way. There have been very few plays where you see a receiver running free with nobody around him. They've completed some passes and they've gotten some deep passes, but it hasn't been like, all right, guys are running wide open all over the place.
No, and Drew Phillips, in my mind,
he's had a very good game. I am with you on that.
Wow. Of all the guys in the secondary, Drew Phillips has probably had more wow plays than anybody.
And it's not just like the stuff around the line of scrimmage like last year. This is coverage stuff.
All over the
place. He looks very good. I'm with you on that. Paul, good stuff.
Yeah, John.
Bob Pop again. Extra 3 minutes to get ready for a serious show. Check him out on Sirius XM NFL Radio. For Peterson Butler, I'm John Schmeelk. He's Paul Dottino. Thanks for joining us on Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. We came to you live from the Hackensack Meridian Health Podcast Studio. Keep getting better. For our entire crew, I am John Schmeelk. Download Giants TV, the Giants TV app, and go to Giants.com/tickets for Giants tickets if you want to go to games this year. We'll see you next time.
Bye.